extensions. We're coming to you with exciting information as always, and something new, something that's useful to you, something that will help you. And the most exciting part of it is we're in a completely different location this time, because we love bringing new things to your understanding, new things to excite you, new things to help you know that life shouldn't be static. So today we're actually operating from Paris, and excitingly it's actually Christmas Eve 2015. So we just want to, bring some humor and some fun to what we do. My name is Joy Fido. I'm your master natural hair carer, designer, and extensionist. And today the topic is going to be really exciting. Welcome on board. Okay, so remember we talked about a different location. This background is absolutely amazing, but it's just that the sun is a bit down and it's affecting our camera. We're right behind the sea, and what we're going to do in between, we're going to actually show you how beautiful this background is. Now, the reason we chose to do that is just for you to know that life could be really exciting, and sitting with the same boring location all the time makes you actually lose out on the fun in life. So we're going to show you how beautiful this place is at some point in this video. But today's topic is something that has been so requested several times. Everyone wants to know how to care for their natural afro hair, how to avoid tangling it, how to avoid breaking it, and so many problems that afro hair brings on board. So the topic is going to be called, the topic is solving the top 7 challenges of afro hair. So we're going to count 7 top challenges that afro hair deals with, and that's what we're going to be looking at. But of course, while we're doing that, we always have our model ready that will actually make you understand the topics or this, the issues we're talking about, what the problems are and how to solve them. They don't come any better than the client or the model you're going to see, and that's going to be coming to you shortly. Okay, so remember what I said, I'm your master natural hair carer, designer, and extensionist. Natural hair, it's so exciting to me, because there are lots of people out there who've lost so much hair from working with various things. What are these various things? The heat, the chemicals, the unhealthy and unnatural products. And so most of these things, what they've actually done is destroy the natural afro hair. Now, you will find most of my videos, I'm wearing wigs. And I get people asking me all the time, but you talk natural hair, you're wearing wigs. My hair is natural, there's no chemical in it. Now, the only reason I like to put the wigs on is because I don't have the time to sit down and care for my hair the way I should be doing. Doesn't mean it's unhealthy, it is healthy, but I'm happier is sitting quietly, healthily underneath my wig. But when I have clients and I have to do all the things that I know I could do, those are the things that I bring to you in the videos. So natural hair is a major part of us, especially us black people. We need it so our hair can remain healthy. But another thing I enjoy saying to people is, keep your hair healthy, and of course, just like we dress up, just like we change our clothes, you can feel free to change your wigs as much as you like, or any hairstyle that makes you happy, like we call designer or extensionist. You can bring whatever color of extension you like. You can bring whatever hair design you like, as long as it's not going to be damaging your hair. So those are the things we stand here for at World of Braiding. Encouraging natural hair care, and of course bringing glamour in the industry. And those are the things I've been able to bring on board, which was my biggest mission. So bringing that today is guiding you on how to cut out those 7 major challenges that we deal with in the natural hair industry. So again, we're going to bring the client out soon, and then I'm going to show you the materials that we're going to be working with today. So before we bring the client out, we need to know the materials we need. Now, in this spray bottle is natural oils, and I've shown this several times in the videos. in this oil, which is one of my brand coming out soon, is a mixture of oils that we know that really work for Afro hair. One of them is castor oil. One of them is glycerin. There's also peppermint oil. So quite a lot of these natural oils that help to work with the natural Afro hair. And so it's in a spray bottle, and I'm going to be working with this. The next thing is this product. Now, if you recall, or if you've been following me, I've done lots of training in manufacturing my own products, and this is this one. After over 10 years of working with products and trying to understand what product actually does the work on our hair, I have come up with this. What does it do? It actually brings in moisture to the Afro hair and help with the hair growth. So the two major things my product's targeting is growth and moisture retention. And so this product is available for sale. Now, we haven't put any branding on it, and I'm not going to say what the name is at the moment because I don't want anyone going there and saying, oh yeah, just said that, let me quickly use that name. It's available. We will call it our hair butter at the moment. And I've had a few people ask me, how do they get it? It's on our website. The only issue we're having at the moment is postage of small things like this. But we're going to sort that out. So it shouldn't stop you from ordering your hair butter, especially if you're in the UK. Next thing we need is the clips. Now this is going to help me section the client's hair and hold it away from me being able to work with it. The next big thing will be the Afro comb. Remember, we're in a different location, so in the process of packing, we forgot our Afro comb, but of course this is going to do the work for now, and you're going to see how I work with it. And then the tail comb, as usual, this just helps to section the hair ready so that we can actually do the work on the individual strands. So those are the materials, and we're going to bring our client out now. Okay, so here is our handsome young client, which you've seen in so many of our videos. Now, Garen happens to, you can smile, there he is. So Garen happens to have really beautiful long Afro hair that we've been working on now. If you've been following us, you've seen his videos a lot of times, and you've seen how this hair has progressed from really short hair that we worked with up to this level. You can see the length going on. And so all the knowledge we've put into researching how to care for Afro hair worked with Garen. And that's the thing we're still bringing to you from time to time, to look at how we've cared for this hair for so long, that's given us this amount of length without any damage, with its hairline intact and hair growing healthily. So that's our young client. Okay, so let me bring something out quickly. You know, we enjoy explaining the actions we take in all our videos. Now what's happened is lots of people find that irritating. They think we talk too much. Unfortunately, when you're actually teaching somebody something, words go with action, and that's why we tend to explain the action we're taking. But I think some people do find videos that are muted, nobody says a word, but action just going on, quite exciting. Like a few people have told me, there's no need for me to change to please a few people. If you find we talk too much and you're not getting the message we're bringing across, feel free to move to the next channel. But of course, if you really like what we're doing, you can just mute the sound and watch the action. We're really trying to please everyone. So whichever way works for you, please feel free to do that. But the negatives of you talk too much just is not necessary. So again, we love working with you and we love sharing with you. So that's why we keep coming back. The two-strand twist that we have on his hair already is being taken out. Now I'm trying to save myself a lot of time by just going over the same sections that I've created before. With his hair in, we still wash the hair under the shower. So the hair has been washed recently, and then we're just carrying on with the sections that we have before. So the first problem that Afro hair deals with, or one of the biggest challenges, is dryness. And so how do we solve dryness? Once you don't put any moisture in the hair, what happens is the hair gets dry, especially Afro hair. And why is that? Because our hair is coily. So coily hair, naturally we should be having oil coming from the scalp to attend to each strand of hair. But that doesn't happen because the hair is coily and because we don't brush our hair every morning. So you don't see that oil transferring or moving on to touch every strand of your hair. So that's why for Afro hair we need moisture in the hair constantly. So dryness is a big problem, and best way to solve it is put products in. And what products are these? This is where I talked about the hairspray that I just showed you earlier, and I'm going to spray it into the hair. And because we've already washed the hair this morning as well, the hair feels damp. So you see the hair stretching out. So we just bring the spray and spray it into the hair. So what that helps to do is, and what we're going to do now is knead that spray into the hair nicely. And so now dryness has gone. So the hair is all nicely moisturized. And what you're going to find, which is something I struggle with most clients when they don't understand this hair, is they think when the hair is dry, they should just throw the comb into the hair and start combing it out. When you do that, what you find is the hair starts to break, which we'll come to in the next problem. But until it's moisturized, don't try to comb it. It's also another issue that lots of people deal with when they're thinking of braiding hair. They think the best way is to blow dry it, let it get straight before they can braid it. You don't need that. See, the minute moisture goes into Afro hair, it actually stretches out. You see that? So you can see how the hair is stretching and stretching. It gets longer and longer and longer, and I haven't combed it yet. All I've done is knead the product in. And so once I've done that, then I'll bring the hair butter we talked about earlier, and then I'll equally knead that into that hair. Suddenly the hair gets really soft. Yeah, and once you've done that, next thing you want to do is to comb it. But you see how I comb? You comb from the tips. Why do we do that? Because it takes away the tangled part. Our hair is so naturally coily that it will tangle whatever you do, and that's the next issue we'll touch on. But see how the combing happens. So all you're doing is kind of stretching it out so it releases whatever hairs that are in between. And when you do this, even a young child will not notice that you're actually combing the hair. And this is where most moms go really wrong. What they say is, my child is crying whenever I bring the comb. Yes, you're giving them a phobia of comb. So you see that? And that's how you can take care of the problem of so many, well, that's how you can take care of so many problems we'll deal with. So I'll be touching on them as we go along. But the first one we'll just solve now is dryness. Okay, so we finished that first line, straight across, and what we've done after detangling it, we've done a 2-strand twist, which is what we always do with Garant's hair. We just 2-strand twist it. Now watch the base. It's not tight at all. It's just natural and fluffy. And that's why there's no there's no hair loss on his scalp, because his hair is just sitting naturally where it should be sitting, and all it's doing is just grow out. So that first line done. Now we're on to the second line. And what's our second question? Our second question was breakage. Not so much question, but challenge. Why is our hair breaking so much? Remember we mentioned dryness actually causes the breakage. But once you've moisturized it and the hair stretches out, combing it becomes an easy option. So what you're doing is nicely stretching it out, detangling it. And if you do that, what you're going to find is there's very little breakage. Very, very little breakage. What you're getting in the comb is generally hair that has actually come out of its roots. And that's what we call shedding. Shedding is something that's just natural for hair. It's meant to shed. That's just the way nature made it. And that's because we have what we call the 3 cycles of hair. So the 3 cycles, one is the growth, which is what we call anagen. And then the next one is when hair actually stops growing, and that's the catagen. So anagen, catagen, and telogen. Telogen is when it actually drops out. And this dropping out is what's coming out when you try to comb it. But see, with the way I'm doing it, all I'm doing is taking out the telogen, which is hair that's actually dropped out, and we're trying to take it out from the roots. So when you take it so slowly from the tips, you get the hair coming out, and then they actually come out. And that's what you get. Very little shedding. Now when we don't do that and we just put the comb and start combing and yanking, what we're actually doing is we are breaking it. This is not meant to be breaking. This is meant to be dropping out the hair that's actually shedded, which is hair that's dropped its roots. And that's the telogen. You see that? And that's why if you really care for your hair, you see less hair in your comb than on the floor. Am I saying this right? You see less hair in the comb than on your head, yes. So there should be more hair on your head than in the comb. And that's because you're only taking out the shedded part, the one that's actually come out of its roots. See that? Slowly, slowly. One thing we should always remember is our hair is coily. It wasn't meant to be straight. But lots of us make this big effort of straightening out our hair. The minute you do that, you're taking it away from afro hair to straight hair. That's not natural hair. The minute your hair changes its status from coily to straight, is no longer natural hair. And so you're meant to just try and allow it to stay natural. Although there are so many different things we try to do naturally, like the style we call the, I've forgotten the name now, I'll remember it at some point. Well, wrapping. So you actually wrap the hair, and what that gives us is straightness without any heat or without any chemical. That is alright because it does not damage the hair in any form. But the minute you try to force the hair to take on a shape that's not its natural shape, you're changing something. And so, remember, once you moisturize the hair nicely, what you're going to get is less breakage. So just remember, take your time, take out this shedding hair, the hair that's shedded, just take your time, take it out of the hair, and you'll be fine. And you're going to see more natural healthy hair coming out than hair that's all over the place damaged. And how do you know when you get this amount of shedding? This is what happens most times. The more the hair stays in the braided form, remember we designed hair So you could braid this hair and keep it for about a month, which is usually what we do with garden. For that 1 month, ideally we shed between 40 to 200 strands of hair a day, depending on your gene and all of that. So if you're shedding 40 to 200 strands of hair and you're keeping the hair for 1 month, that's the amount of shed hair that should come out when you comb it. But lots of people don't get that. They think their hair is breaking so much. No. The only time your hair breaks is when you're using all the other things we're talking about. The heat, the chemical, the bad products which contain a lot of chemicals again, sulfates, silicones and all of that. But for now, dryness was the first challenge. Now breakage, we've talked about, is our second challenge. And that's because of the way you're caring for it. So don't go in there and yanking your comb off. Slowly take it from the tips and slowly, you can get completely detangled hair like that. Next challenge we're dealing with is, first we just recap on what we talked about. We talked about dryness, which was throwing in the moisture. We talked about breakage. Now the third one is tangling. And tangling is why I'm taking my time to show you what I'm doing with the sectioning. So when this hair grows out, being our hair, what I do, because the strands are so coily, you can see them, they wrap around each other. And that's why you see things like that. They tangle. And where's our challenge? How to detangle them. Detangling is a big issue. And detangling or untangling is one of the reasons our hair breaks so much, because they're so tied to each other and wrapping themselves around each other. In the process of us trying to comb through it, we then drag them out of their tangled shape, and what it does is it then pulls that hair apart and it breaks it. And one of the issues I've got to find out about is the Afro hair might look so thick, but in the real sense of it, is the most fragile of all the hair types. Because at each point where it's coiling, that is the most fragile part of the hair strand. So if you're not patient with yourself to detangle it, what you're actually doing is breaking it. And that's one of the challenges we've been dealing with. So how do we make sure we can detangle? This is where you come in again and make sure the hair is not dry when you're working with it. So you can see now there's enough moisture in this hair. And once there's moisture, you can take it through slowly with your comb. Again, what we said was starting from the tip. If you notice it's dry at any point, bring your spray, spray it a little bit. And once Afro hair has moisture, it will release itself. See that? It will release itself. And that's what detangling is. And one of the best detanglers I have found out is water. This is why whenever I'm braiding hair or working with hair in any form, the first thing I must have around me is water. But of course, to give it that more moisture, some natural oils go into that mixture. You will not be adding natural oil to hair that you're using on Caucasian hair. But that we've talked about a few times. That has to be just plain water. Again, the focus being detangling if the hair ever gets tangled. But for us, water is absolutely important. And this is why I always laugh sometimes when I hear people say their product has no water. And in their way of thinking, they think that's the best way to make the product really concentrated. No, without water, Afro hair struggles. So you must add water to detangle Afro hair. And that's a big message here, detangling. So if you don't detangle, the hair tangles, and when you try to comb it, it snaps at the point that it curls. And that's where our hair is most fragile. So that's detangling sorted out. So our next point is moisture retention. Moisture retention is all about how much moisture can your hair hold. Now remember, we've talked about dryness. Dryness is when the hair has gone all dry, the moisture has disappeared. So how often should you put moisture in your hair in order for it to stay supple and not snap off, basically? Dryness is what makes it snap off, and moisture is what helps our hair in particular. So what I've done, I've taken my time to put enough moisture in this hair, and I've been able to detangle it nicely. How often should you put moisturizer into this hair? A moisturizer could come in any form. That's where the hair butter comes in, the one I showed you earlier. That's where the hairsprays come in, which is what I've been using quite a lot more. That is actually what you need more than all the other products. You keep hearing people buying all kinds of products because all they put on the packaging is, it does this and it does that. But 3/4 of the time, they don't really know what they're actually talking about because they don't use it. I use it and I know what I'm talking about. Moisture is in this hair, and that's how come it could actually snap back. You see that? And it's all nicely in. That's how I could detangle it. So moisture, you can spray your hair once in 2 days, even as is in twists or braids or whatever, especially with the natural hair, not when you added extensions. The minute you add extensions, don't spray the strands anymore, just spray the scalp. But when it's natural like this, you can spray on it because it helps to put the moisture into the strands and the hair doesn't go dry. So remember what I've been doing. Once I finish attending to each of the issue, I just simply twist it back to what it was. So you see, because the hair is really free, I can just unravel it and carry on with my twisting. Moisture retention, very important, because that helps to keep the hair all moisturized and avoids the snapping and the breakage. Okay, so shrinkage is the next point we struggle with as a race with our hair. Now you can see how long, look at that. Now what happens most times, the minute you finish combing this hair, it just snaps right back, which is what we've experienced before. So you can see that and see this. I haven't combed this one, but you can see the difference between that and the one that braided. How do you deal with shrinkage? Stretching it out in the form of braiding is a fantastic way, or twisting as we're doing. What you do is once you finish the stretching it out, detangling, combing, doing whatever you need to do, you must put it in some kind of design. And that again is why we prided ourselves, water braiding and extensions came into play. We know that just leaving your hair on its own does not answer the questions. Because lots of people think when they hear natural hair, what I do is match around with my hair just combed out, and wow, I'm the best human being who cares for my natural hair. Your natural hair will break if there's no attention given to it. Remember the experiment we took with Darren's hair to really see what happens with less manipulation. And we actually see the hair grow. We never left his hair hanging out every day. You will struggle for hours trying to comb through this hair every morning if you just left it on its own. It's just one of those things that nature did. We can't go back querying nature and say, why did you give us that kind of hair? So if you want to be kind to your hair, try and do some natural design. And the natural design is one of them being the 2-strand twist, which is the favorite one that works for young people. Even that's what I wear with my natural hair. Just 2-strand twisting. You can cornrow it. Again, that works for lots of people for as long as it's natural hair, no extension added. You can braid it, again natural, without putting any extensions in it. So other shrinkage is basically do some natural design with it. And once you've done that, once the hair is dry, you can take it out if you wanted to do that. Because when you show off the length of your hair, you want to look all nice, You can take it out after about 3-4 days in this twist. Once the hair is dry, I don't recommend using blow dryer to blow dry it. Just allow it to dry naturally, and then you undo it. Once you undo it, you get beautiful natural curls in whatever format that you set it up, which is cornrow, twist, or braids, but just the natural hair. Again, lots of people love to wear the locks, which is also good. Locks is not about manipulating the hair every day, it's just about retightening the base. And that's one of the reasons locks grows. Because the shedding hair that we're actually taking out now, with locks you don't take it out. So number 6 is split ends. Split ends is just one of those things we deal with as long as you have hair. It happens to everyone. Doesn't matter the hair type you have. Split ends happens when the hair starts to open. Now remember, if you know a bit about the natural hair strand or the hair strand, there are 3 sections to a hair strand, or hair shaft as we call it sometimes. There's the cuticle, that's the open one, the first part of the hair strand. And then there's the hair strand containing the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. Those are the 3 sections of a hair strand if you were to cut it and look through it. Now, what happens is the cuticle opens up. This is at the extreme ends of the hair tip. It opens up, and then we start to see the cortex. And that cortex is very brittle and very dry. And that's where we have what we call the keratin being protein. So once the protein opens up, that hair protein itself is extremely dry. So it starts to break, because the only thing that protects the protein, being the cortex, is the cuticle. So the cuticle opens up, the cortex is showing, the hair starts to snap off. If you don't do something about it, what happens is it travels down the hair strand. And so what we normally need to do is nip that bit off. And that's why people take time to go to the hairdressers and nip off the split ends. Split means the cuticle has opened and the ends are now open for damage. So do not leave your hair to keep having those scraggy little bits at the end. When you get those, that means your hair is ready for damage. And we guarantee from time to time and nip off the little bit at the ends. Once you do that, you stop it from traveling down the hair shaft and breaking and damaging your hair. So it's a major issue we deal with, and if you don't take care of your hair ends, being the ends, as your hair gets older, remember this is the oldest part of your hair as well. So as they get older, they start to split, just nip them off. Now it helps to make your hair grow longer. Not grow because it's bringing the hair out, but it avoids your hair splitting further down and breaking the hair strands more. Lots of people worry about trimming their hair ends, and they think because they're trimming it, they're actually cutting their hair, so their hair is not growing. If you're doing it because you know that there's definitely a split end, you're actually helping your hair. You're not destroying your hair. So remember to occasionally do something about your split ends. When you want to really know about hair grows from inside. And again, I think I've done a video on everything about hair, but if I haven't, that's a major topic we're going to take on another day, for people to understand that thing on their head called hair strands. But for now, we're just looking at the challenges we're dealing with, and we've understood that the split ends is not our best friend, so we shouldn't keep them in. Take them out whenever they happen. Okay, so you've seen the 2 lines we've done. We're going to carry on until we finish the whole hair. But for now, the next point, the next issue we deal with is the hairline. And hairline loss is a big problem with the Afro hair. Why is that? Because most times, as young kids, you can start braiding a young child's hair from even the age of 6 months. And then what happens, the more you manipulate this hair, the more you're stressing the hair strands, they start to struggle from the follicles, follicles being where they're growing from. Remember, every strand of hair has the nerve endings attached to it. Nerve endings is when you now start pulling the hair, the client feels the pain and it hurts. But when you cut the hair does not hurt, because when they come out, they're actually dead strands. So nerve endings, you pull the hair, it hurts, it's pulled out of the follicles. Then what happens? The hair starts to recede. Why is it receding? Because the more hair you pull, the more the hair understands that they really should not be growing there. And I always say to people, our hair has so much knowledge, it knows so much. You give it too much instruction, it follows that instruction. So people who like creating center parting, side parting constantly, what they end up having is that part of their hair starts to recede. So look at how healthy Garen's hairline is. Hair is practically growing up to his eyebrows. That's how healthy hair should be. You shouldn't have an issue where the hairline is beginning to go farther away from the eyes, farther away and farther away. And lots of people struggle with that, especially with us black people, because we manipulate our hair a lot. Things like the weaves, braids are okay if you do them, drop them where they should naturally fall. But some cornrows can be damaging as well when you do it too excessively with the tightness of the hairline. And I actually saw someone make a comment on one of my videos and say, that is going to damage the hairline. And I actually did reply, I have never had that happen to any of my clients. If someone's listening to the things I'm saying, hairline will not happen. Hairline loss, alopecia is called, will not happen. And what causes it is tightness. So if you can cut out tightness on your hairline and on your client's hairline, you're going to have healthy hair growing where they should be growing. So it's one of the issues we deal with. Tightness is the reason. Cut that out and you'll have a healthy hairline. So that has solved our 7 major problems. Like we said earlier, if you're struggling with any natural hair issue, feel free to email us, ask us the questions, and we'll be happy to respond to you. But of course, we're going to carry on working on this hair until we finish the hair, and then we'll be showing you as we get along. Okay, so this is very important. We need to be saying a big thank you to Garen, because he's actually allowed us to work with his hair for this long. Now, several times he's wanted to have the hair shaved off and cut off. But again, we keep pleading with him. It's just to help us, many of you out there who are struggling with understanding your hair. And so we have to say thank you to you, Garen. And I think there's something you want to tell us as well, isn't it?
So don't forget to like, subscribe and share.
What Garen has just nicely said is you should remember to like our video, remember to share it to your friends who might find it useful. Remember to subscribe, because the more you subscribe, the more we're getting messages across to you that actually are useful to you. With your hair. Are you struggling with any part of your natural hair? Anything you're struggling with, feel free to query me, feel free to send me an email, feel free to question us in the description, in your usual questions, and we're going to come back to you with the answers that we know. So, see you in the next video.